2637 and 24002642, People versus Mark Chaluste. We here for sentencing on both matters. Appearances, please.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Bryn Kurt on behalf of the people, P84009.
Good afternoon, James Parker on behalf of my client, Mr. Schusterick.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. Mr. Schusterick, can you state your name again for the record?
Mark Anthony Schusterick.
Thank you. We're back on the record after a brief recess. Mr. Schusterick wanted to speak to his attorney. Has he had an opportunity to do that with you, Mr. Parker?
Yes, he has, Your Honor.
Okay. And with respect to sentencing?
Well, Your Honor, my client has informed me that he would like to withdraw his plea.
On what basis?
He's telling me that he has talked to his two previous attorneys. They would be Lyle Harris as well as Mr. Glenn.
Do you mean he's talked to them since you've been assigned his attorney?
No, he's talked to them in the past.
Okay.
And he informed them about information that he feels is critical in defending himself in his case as he moved forward through this process. And based on that, he feels he was not properly represented at that time. And with that, he feels that he is not being justly adjudicated in this particular matter. And he's requesting that the court withdraw his plea.
Ms. Carter, you want to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor, just one. Your Honor, Mr. Parker hasn't alleged any of the proper reasons for withdrawing a plea.
You mean under 6.32?
Yes, Your Honor. He hasn't alleged any issues with the plea taking process, hasn't alleged a valid claim of defense or anything that would establish innocence, just that his client doesn't feel he was represented by attorneys that he has fired. Which is not a reason to withdraw the plea.
Mr. Parker.
I can, talk about some specifics. My client claims that, first of all, I believe the nature of this particular case was based off of a personal protection order. My client has told me that he felt that the complaining witness and he had made a decision that they were going to possibly withdraw this particular personal protection order. They had gotten to the point where they had intended to either sign the papers and they just didn't happen to go through at this particular point in time. That's what he's informed me of. He's also informed me that during the particular point, even when that personal protection order was in existence, that he and the complaining witness had numerous contacts. They were having intimate contacts. They certainly have children in common. They were sneaking out, getting together, that type of thing. All through that process, I did not have a chance to actually develop any type of a timeline or anything like that. I did not go into all the facts of the case because I did not read the police reports, discoveries, or that type of thing. But just based on some of the things that he's telling me, and then the question becomes, what type of communication did he have with his previous attorneys? And he told me that he had explained all of this to them. And this is where we're at today.
Well, let me ask you this, Mr. Parker,
Yes.
because Mr. Schusterick is not an attorney. You are. Has anything that Mr. Schusterick told you, is there anything that he's told you that would suggest to you that there is a basis for withdrawal of this plea under MCR 6.32? Which reads as follows: subsection B, withdrawal after acceptance but before sentence. Except as provided in subsection 3, after acceptance but before sentence, Subsection 1, a plea may be withdrawn on the defendant's motion or with the defendant's consent only in the interest of justice, and may not be withdrawn if withdrawal of the plea would substantially prejudice the prosecutor because of reliance on the plea. I don't think we have that here. If the defendant's motion is based on an error in the plea proceeding, the court must permit the defendant to withdraw the plea if it would be required to do so by subsection C. And subsection C states the defendant may file a motion to withdraw the plea within the time for filing an application for leave to appeal. Thereafter, the defendant may seek relief only in accordance with the procedure set forth by the 6,500 section of the court rules. 3, if the trial court determines that there was an error in the plea proceeding that would entitle the defendant to have a plea set aside, the court must give the advice or make the inquiries necessary to rectify the error and then give the defendant the opportunity to elect to allow the plea and sentence to stand or to withdraw the plea. There's been no allegation of an error in the plea taking process. There's in my opinion, no implication of the interest of justice if the sentencing continues. And I'll say this, Mr. Schuster,
Yes, ma'am.
you can stand. Thank you, sir. I've been exceedingly patient with you. My patience is exhausted. You should know that. Today is the date for your sentencing. If I were to, and I would add, really against my interpretation of the court rules, allow you to withdraw your plea, I would remand you until your trial. So if you'd like to withdraw your plea for no legal or factual reason, I'll allow you to do it, but you're going to be remanded until your trial. So it's your choice. I'm reminding you that I'm not new to your case, says Laurel. You're not charged with violating the PPO. You're charged with stalking. And yes, the PPO is involved to a certain degree. But the last time that we were together, Ms. Kerr advised the court that you, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 5 times, I don't even think it was 10 times. I think it was more than 10 times, much more than 10 times, that you continued, despite the court's no contact order, to contact your wife. Now you want some consideration from the court when you've been violating my orders, admittedly, for months. You did exactly what you pleaded that you did. You swore an oath to tell the truth. Were you lying when you took the plea?
No, ma'am. I was asked yes or no questions, and I don't believe the questions were really a yes or no answer. And it's,
All right.
I'm really sorry that since this began, I was
Mr. Schuster, do you want to withdraw your plea?
the reason.
You should just do your appellate, do it that way. Please just take the sentence and just make a case for the appellate.
Take the sentence. Is there any way I can go home with my mom today? Please. I wanted to show you guys a different person. That's why I wanted to take the trial, so I could try and show you guys that not everything is what it seems, and I respect what you do, and I respect what she does, and I'm not trying to be remanded in jail because then I have no way of providing any kind of actual information or being useful to my case in my defense. I served 7 months in jail. My mom is sick, and I just want to go home. I'm not going to bother her.
You've already bothered her.
I'm not.
You've been having sex with her. It doesn't get much more contact than that. You have been violating the court's no contact order for who knows how long.
I'm not.
And now you want the court to give you some consideration for your mother, who is not before this court. Mr. Schustrick, I'm going to give you 15 seconds to decide what you want to do. You're either going to proceed to sentencing or you're going to be allowed to withdraw your plea.
Take the sentencing, Your Honor.
We had an opportunity to go over the pre-sentence report. We wish to make no additions or corrections other than we could talk about jail credit time. We were scheduled here, I believe, on 10/3, October 3rd. And when did you get released?
I'm not tethered.
Yeah, when did you get released?
October 13th or 12th.
Okay. I believe that we should add at least 10 more days to the jail credit, Your Honor.
Well, we need an exact number. Officer Stoner, can you assist?
180, if I'm not correct.
So the total then is how much?
We'll go,
189.
we'll do 189.
Your Honor, I would ask that Your Honor allow me to read the victim impact statement and make a potential argument on OV4, which is psychological impact to victims.
Well,
The people would be asking the court to consider scoring 10 points after the reading of the letter.
all right. Well, I'm certainly going to allow the reading of the letter, given that the victim is not here today.
She is, Your
But-
Honor. She just wished for me to read it.
Okay, where is she?
She's seated right behind me, Your Honor.
You know what? I want to take some testimony. Ma'am, can you come to the witness stand, please? Please be seated. Thank you. Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear that the information you're about to provide to the court will be the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Schuman, what do you have to say, if anything, about Mr. Schustrick's allegations that you and he have been in regular contact with one another, even to the point of sexual contact? Is that true?
No, like when? Are we talking like recently?
I mean, since he's been on bond in this court with a no contact order.
No, that is not true at all.
Okay. Mr. Parker, do you have any questions for Ms. Schuman?
Let's talk. Where I got out this time. I believe if you're going on what my argument might have been, Your Honor, I think Mr. Schustrick again was really telling me about things that happened during that
Mr.
PPO.
Parker, do you want to question Ms. Schuman?
Oh. I have no questions for her.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Hurd, do you want to question Ms. Schuman?
Briefly, Your Honor. Miss Schuman, have you experienced anything since the onset of the defendant's actions that brings you here today?
Yes.
What, if anything, have you been dealing with mentally or emotionally?
Oh, I could go on with a list of things. But I have a lot of issues with trust. Anytime there is anything super loud, I jump up or like I shake. I just like I definitely have a PTSD.
Are you seeing a professional, are you seeing a medical professional to help you with that?
I had, and then I stopped, and now I'm just looking around. I'm a mom, so I do a lot. So at times I do not have time to do the extras, like have, and like,
So you had
do
been
all
seeing,
that.
so you had been seeing a medical professional?
Yes.
And would you say that you have trouble sleeping?
Yes, I do.
And why is that?
There's just so many times where, he has harmed me like with his words, and it's really mentally draining. And I mean, that's not just that. It's along with everything else. I know I'm gonna need a lot of time to heal of me. And I think he also has to do the same when it has to do with himself, not with me and him. You know what I mean? Like, he needs to heal himself and do what he's got to do. And I got to do the same, but
Would you
separately.
say that since these events took place?
So,
You-
Ms. Kerr, please don't lead her.
Yes, Your Honor. What, if anything, have you changed about your habits since the events that bring us here to court?
Well, now, when I knew he was in jail, I was okay with me having to leave the house without him having to show up on the road with his hands waving. So now I'm slowly kind of becoming okay with having to do like everyday and normal type of life stuff. But now that he's going to be out soon, I'm going to, have to look over my arm, shoulder all the time. Got to make sure.
And why do you feel like you're gonna have to start doing that?
Because he's very smart. He's a smart man, and that's what he has always done. He would just always show up out of the blue all the time.
So are you worried about that?
Yes.
People have no further questions.
Thank you. Any follow-up questions, Mr. Kerr?
I'm not going to ask for that.
I'm just letting you know.
Okay, then, that's fine.
I mean, I'm not trying to, this isn't to,
Mr. Schuster?
Be quiet.
if you
I know.
think it's the attacking her or anything, I don't want. I'm not against her.
So it's clear then, ma'am, you don't want any contact with Mr. Schuster, period.
Yes, it's very clear. No contact
And-
at all
and you
by
made-
you or your mother or anyone else.
And you made that clear prior to him being locked up?
Yes. I told him, do not show up outside of my house. You cannot go there. You will go to jail. He showed up to my house. Before that, he chased me down Allen Road. Well, he showed up out of the blue when I went to go have an icy. That's how it all began. So yeah, he likes to just show up when out the blue. But yes, I said, do not follow me. Do not come. Do not. He did not listen. And that's
Fine. What is the child care arrangements going on, or custody arrangements?
they are mine. We went to court. He has no rights to them whatsoever. Him, nobody. They are my girls.
Ms. Shu.
With law is what I'm
Yes, sure.
saying. We share children, but
Ms.
they're under,
Newman,
yes.
what court terminated Mr. Schuster's parental rights?
I believe it was Wayne County FOC.
Okay,
Never even
there's no
went to that
termination of parental rights in that part of the circuit court. So, just so that you are aware,
I've got the info if you need it.
I was mid-sentence, ma'am.
Sorry about that.
Just so that you are aware, Mr. Schusterick has full parental rights. But there is a case that governs his rights, and that would be through your FOC case.
Yes.
But I don't want you leaving this courtroom under the impression that you never will have any dealings with him again, because you
Oh.
very well may.
Yes, you're right, with, FOC, right?
Yes,
Yes, I do know that. Yes.
you can continue. Mr.
So my understanding, if I have this correct, his parental rights were terminated.
They were not terminated.
They were not terminated.
That court doesn't have jurisdiction to terminate parental rights.
All right.
I'm confused
That,
why you said that.
It's really an aside.
Yeah,
I just wanted to be certain that you aren't under the impression that Mr. Schusterick is not your girl's legal father. He is. His parental rights
Yeah.
haven't been terminated, but your custody case governs his parenting time and custody. Sounds as if you have full custody, but his rights haven't been terminated, so he will be given parenting time. You need to be aware of that. Don't be surprised when that happens.
yeah, and that's with FOC, it's gonna be like he's not allowed to just show up and say, hey, I wanna hang out with them today. He has to go through the court. He's gotta
Ms. Schuman,
do his
Ms.
part,
Schuman,
is what I understand.
well, Ms. Schuman, at this point, I'm not really asking you what you understand. I'm just telling you what you can expect. Okay,
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
I
you
have no
any
further
other
questions, then.
Okay,
Yeah, clear.
I have a few questions. Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah.
Have you been diagnosed by a mental health professional, or is that a diagnosis that you think you have?
It's a diagnosis I think I have. I haven't like had the actual words of them to let me know that's what I have.
Thank you.
Mm.
You can be seated.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I know that you're concerned about your son, but it seems that every time you come in this courtroom, we have to redirect your behavior. If you cannot sit quietly without making gestures, without standing up and down or walking around, I'm going to ask you to leave. Do you understand?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Carter.
Your Honor, based on the testimony from Ms. Schuman, and I do have her victim impact letter that she wished me to read, I would ask that Your Honor consider amending the guidelines to include 10 points on offense variable 4. Ms. Schuman testified that she has trouble sleeping, that she is fearful, that loud noises startle and frighten her, and that is all stemming from the incidences that bring us here to court. So I do think that it is appropriate, and I would ask that Your Honor make that amendment.
Mr. Parker?
Your Honor, I ask that you not do that. I feel that, yes, the witness did testify that she has trouble sleeping, but in terms of specifics, there could be a lot of reasons why she has trouble sleeping. She has a lot of reasons why she's not feeling comfortable either around noises or whatever. And to me, that some of the things she described are things that usually happens with relationships that necessarily are just not smooth, but not necessarily ones that make it to a circuit court or a felony court or even a misdemeanor type of a court situation. So I'm asking you not to add those particular points for this charge.
I'm sorry, Ms. Kerr, that was OV. Which one?
For Your Honor, psychological injury to the victim. It reads, serious psychological injury requiring professional treatment to occurred to a victim. It does not require the treatment actually be sought. However, she did testify that she did get some treatment, but had to suspend it briefly due to other tasks within her life. But that she does struggle, that she does have mental anguish, and that she is fearful. And I do think that that does provide a basis for OV4 to be scored.
I do too. What is it, 10?
Yes, ma'am. That it would change it to 12 to 24.
Okay, does that change the OV level?
Yes, Your Honor, it would raise it from an OV level 3 to an OV level 4.
Do you agree, Mr. Parker?
No objection.
Allocution.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, Ms. Kerr, I forgot about the letter. Go ahead.
To whom it may concern. My name is Anastasia Schumann. I am writing this letter in an attempt to clarify facts and summarize the effects that this person and his actions have had on me, my family, and my children. I have full custody of my children and do not wish to be contacted in any way by Mark Schusterick.
No.
I kindly request that any communication regarding the children or any other matters be solely through the correct avenue, such as friend of the court. Although he is the paternal father of both of my children, I am in no way in a relationship nor should be referred to as anything but the mother of his children. I have been falsely referred to by Mark as his wife in court and also through unwanted contact, letters, messages, emails, phone calls, etc. While I suffer from mental health effects, as do many victims of domestic abuse and stalking, this far exceeds any traumatic, unrelated experience I have endured in my lifetime. Currently, I am working on healing, raising, and maintaining a consistent and stable environment for my 2 daughters. With that, it is appropriate to say, while I know I am safe as I write this letter, I fear for my life and the need to look over my shoulder will return once he is no longer in custody of the Department of Corrections. I cannot overemphasize my concern for our safety. I do not believe that Mark Schusterick will respect or follow the restrictions of the PPO nor rulings of the court. This has been the most challenging, traumatic experience I have ever had and will ever have to continually deal with and overcome in my lifetime due to him being the father of our children. If I could change one thing on my behalf, I would have called to make a report every time, every day, every location that Mark felt entitled, welcome, or justified showing up to plea with me to try again. This letter should be a publishable novel this letter would be a publishable novel if I elaborated any further on this. I hope he's able to get the help and resources to learn, understand, accept, respect, and do better on his own behalf through the verdict ruled on this case. For a long time, my ability to feel safe was destroyed and like a piece of candy in the hands of a baby. This man took my smile. I cannot even pretend to find a sentence or a collection of words which express how I've always been his victim. If the court was able to access his computer, it would be a disgusting day for the technology detective. This has been a constant since the time my relationship with Mark ended, and he served a year in jail for the first reported instance of domestic violence. In 2022, I verbalized my intent to leave the relationship. This resulted in a fight, including but not limited to a gun being held to my head in front of our daughter, followed by my daughter and I being locked inside our apartment through a deadbolt lock that only Mark had the key to. I thank the court for your time. And attached below is my victim impact statement provided by the court, which I answered to the best of my abilities. And I believe this is the one sent by my office. I'm happy to continue reading it if the court wishes, but that seems to be the end of the impact statement addressed to the court.
Okay, one moment, please. I apologize. Please continue, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mark Anthony Schusterick and his family are still in possession of sentimental and confidential property of mine. Some of these possessions include, but are not limited to, medical records and photo albums that date back to my childhood, both before and after my adoption and relocation from Russia to the United States. I've requested these items directly from the homeowner Mark lived with, Zachary Kuntz, who lives in Lincoln Park, Michigan. Unauthorized permission was given to Tammy Chapa, the offender's mother, to obtain these belongings from Zachary's house. I had been made aware of this through text messaging, harassment through phone attempts, unanswered phone calls, and sent messages by Tammy Chapa. In addition, these parties refused and denied to return these properties in a manner or fashion that would not put my concern for safety at risk. These messages can be provided upon request. Separately, upon selling my last owned vehicle, I was informed that a GPS tracker was found underneath the hood of my car. Photographic proof and name of mechanic and witness notified me of this is available through photograph, text messaging, and contact details will be provided if needed. Stalking, following my children and I, parking outside my home, showing up at my work and children's daycare to make contact are just a few examples of unwanted behavior and the additional crimes that were carried out by Anthony Schustrick. These have directly affected my life, mental health, well-being, safety of my family, stress and concern of my loved ones, and fear for my life prior to his incarceration. In addition, Mark Schustrick did sabotage my career opportunities in the past. After applying for a job, he went to this location, asked for me multiple times, therefore the employer declined to consider my application due to his actions. I do not know how he knew I had applied for the job. And additionally, Your Honor, on behalf of the people, Your Honor did extend an offer at Cobb's here, and I do ask that you follow that. However, I would also like to indicate to the court that my information has been provided to me that the defendant's mother has been consistently reaching out to the complainant, allegedly about the children. And additionally, Ms. Schumann on October 6th received a phone call from the Wayne County Jail. She did not answer it, but it is her belief that Mr. Schustrick is the one who made the phone call. I have requested records and have not been able to evaluate or provide any additional proof aside from the information that has been provided to me to this court. I do think that this court's Cobb's evaluation was a fair Cobb's evaluation, and I would ask that Your Honor honor it and require that the defendant undergo the domestic violence training program within the Detroit jail or the Wayne County Jail. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Parker?
Your Honor, we ask that the court do follow the Cobb's evaluation, and I'll leave it at that point, this point in time.
Mr. Schustrick, this is the time in the proceeding where I'm to extend to you an opportunity to say whatever you would like to say. But I feel like I should probably warn you, because I've already told you that my patience with you is exhausted, that you should think very carefully about what it is that you say.
Yes.
Nothing to say negatively about Nas or Anastasia. She's a wonderful mom. As adults, we make mistakes, and I had a really bad meltdown. And it cost me my entire life with my best friend. And I've been digging hole to hole, trying to get that back. But if she feels that strongly, then I respect that. And that's all I ever wanted was her honesty. When I got out of jail, she contacted me. And I just tried to be the best father and person for her, despite the emotional, and I understand the traumas, because she's had a rough go. She's a good woman. She's a good person. And I tried making the best life for us. And that day was a tragedy for both of us. And I'm ashamed of myself every day. I live with that every day. When it comes to a lock, the deadbolt was there before we moved in, and I just never changed it. We just left the key in there. When it came to the GPS, I was scared of cars being broken into, so I put them in both cars. They weren't active. I quit paying for the subscription. I tried being the best father to these girls, and I love them with all my heart. in there my entire life. To hear that I took her smile, that breaks my heart, because this whole thing, I'm risking my freedom trying to care for someone that if they just would have told me to leave him alone, I would have left. I had hope. I have text messages of her saying, just have faith in me. How am I supposed to leave it? Or how I'm sad and I wish you'd fight harder for me and your daughters. It makes me sad. That hurts and it rings in my head every single day. When it comes to my sentencing, I just want to get a job and be productive. I learned my lesson. I'm not going to bother her. I respect what she's asking. And she don't have to look over her shoulder, and she knows. I'm never a threat to her. I would never let anything happen to her or our kids ever. I absolutely would not. I would throw myself in front of a bus for her. Even after that, when it comes to the sleeping and stuff, all I have to say is I never wanted to say anything that, and I really waived my rights through all of this, even the domestic violence cases and everything, because I didn't want to slander her. I didn't want to go up there and pick out her imperfections, because none of us are perfect. And I love that woman, no matter what she's done or what's happened. None of us are innocent. I refuse to bring up what she's done. It's in the past, and I forgive her every day because we're human beings, and I forgave her. And I'm sorry that I'm not perfect, but I've never been violent. I'm a loving person. I love everybody. And since being in jail, I'm going to tell you that I've learned a lot. And one thing I could really agree with her is that she needs to heal and I need to heal, and that this isn't healthy for our daughters. And what effects is going on in the world today and how crazy it's gotten. We don't have time for this. We just don't have time. I just want to go back to work. I already have an interview at Wade Trim for an engineering job. My mom, like I said, she's sick. It's not to pass pity or anything. I'm just being explanatory, but I really wanted to say is I love her, and I'll always love her, but I don't own her, and I never thought I did. She's been my best friend, and someone once told me to change myself. I don't want to change myself. I have improvements, but I'm a loving person and kind. I'm a gentleman. I am smart and crafty, but I'm also making flowers for my daughters in a jail cell with candy wrappers and cards that I haven't mailed out because I'm terrified. If I do, I go to jail. That's my little girl. I haven't seen my little girl in 9 months. All I did was give her a necklace and leave. That's my baby girl. I want the best for her always, no matter what in life. And if I leave here and if we're not supposed to talk to each other and she's in need, I can't. Who's supposed to do how? I respect you. I respect what you do. And this woman, I respect her. I understand what you guys deal with every day. But I just want you to know that I'm sorry and I learned. And if she wants peace, be at peace. Go to work. You don't have to worry about me. I just want to see my kids. If I have to go to court, okay. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. If she needs money, contact whatever party and I'll help. I just want to help with my daughters. You know what it would feel like to be out of jail for once and be able to go to work and then buy my daughter an outfit? It's like just to be a dad. They're taking that from me every day, and I'm just not trying. I'm not trying to press anything. I just miss my little girls. My youngest daughter was born when I was in jail, and the first time I seen her, she pressed her head up against me like she knew I was her dad. And that's forever imprinted in me, and I'm trying. Man, I'm trying. I am not perfect. But I promise you, I understand, and I know what I need to work on, and I'm sure there's things I don't even think of, but for the past 7 months, I've thought of everything. And the one thing I wanted to come in here and do is never to slander her. That's why I never said anything negative. I don't want to. She's not a bad person.
That's good.
I respect my in-laws or her parents. I respect them. I respect them all. And I told people to just leave it be. Let time heal. Let things cool off and heal and just let it be.
Okay, that's it. That's enough. You hit all the points.
Mr. Parker, this is his time. That's not necessary. You can continue.
Ma'am, I'm not used to getting in trouble, and I know you've been patient, and I want to thank you, and you've been very fair. You've been very fair and very kind. I don't mean to prolong things. I just wanted to make logical decisions, and if I could have got out, I probably would have done things different, but I was stuck in there, and I was trying to be productive. I'm a productive person. I was trying to provide better information because though she's not wrong, she's not being completely honest. And that's okay though, that's fine. I'm not mad about it. It doesn't need to be any further. This has to stop. We have 2 little girls that need parents to working together that aren't worried about things that I just can't fathom things like. Listen to my phone calls. And I didn't call, I promise. It wasn't me. I don't know who it was. That's the God's honest truth. I stopped. If you look at my tether, I haven't gone around. I don't even have my Facebook, and everything is deactivated. I don't even go on it. I've tried to cut all communication, the lettering and stuff. I don't know how that happened because I didn't give that to her. It was wrote to her out of therapy that Miss Almafi explained to me that it would be therapeutical to try and write things out. So I tried to do that. Of course, I wanted to send it out, but I didn't, and I'm sorry, and I shouldn't have leaked it, I guess. Man, I just want to go home and be productive. Put me in jail, and I understand I need a class, and I'll go to a class, and I'll check in with you every week. I'll come here every day. But being productive is the most important thing in my life. And I'm 33 years old. I lost everything. And I'd like to give that something to my children one day. My daughters are a miracle. And before I forget, I've become a greater person. I owe that to that woman over there. Because she made me a better person. And she saved my life. And I hate myself because I let her down. That's the biggest. It takes the soul out of me. Man, I could go on forever with everything I've thought of for the past 7 months. I respect everything you guys do. It's got to stop. It's got to stop somewhere. it's been years and she needs to heal. And this is too much. This is too much. I want to thank you for being patient with me. I know I'm kind of difficult with it, but thank you. I believe that's it. I have your pictures or her pictures. I'll give that to someone I trust to hand that to her safely without being damaged or ruined. Because I realize the importance of them. I don't want them to get messed up. That's their only pictures. So I didn't want them to get messed up. That's it. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Schuster,
Yeah.
what about the gun?
I have a guy that will testify that, look, my living arrangement.
Let me be
Is-
more specific. I'm sorry, that was my fault. You said that you're not a violent man. Do you deny that you pulled out a gun from Ms. Schumann?
During 2022, I had a firearm on me.
That's not
And-
quite my question.
And
What was my question?
that I'm denying pointing a gun at her. I'm gonna tell you that I wasn't okay. I wasn't okay. And what happened wasn't okay. None of it was okay. And I can't tell
So
you
you
if I
are,
did or didn't, because I honestly, truthfully, like blocked that day out. But I'll tell you if it helps, yes. But I'm telling you right now, the gun that was in my car was from a guy that I live with, his brother. He left it in my car. It was in the back seat. When I got
you
pulled,
used it against Ms. Schumann?
no, that's a different.
All right, well, I'm not going to try your case at your sentencing. Some things about allegations are important for me to consider at sentencing. Here's my position. You love Ms. Schumann. There's no doubt. She probably loves you too. But as the late, great Tina Turner would say, what does love have to do with it? If you're frightening her and using the threat of violence to control her in front of your children, by the way, I read that you don't think very highly of your father. But I also read that you lived a childhood free from violence and free from fear. Now, what do you think your precious little girls are going to think about you from what they've witnessed? It's your treatment of their mother, even if, no, Mr. Schusterick, I let you talk for, I wasn't timing it. I let you talk as long as you wanted to talk. Now you're going to listen. They'll never forget the times that they saw you and her in some kind of tumult. Even the baby who's not verbal, she won't forget what she's seen, and it will have an impact on them. They both need counsel. I hope that Ms. Schumann is seeing to that. Is Ms. Schumann your legal wife?
No, it's just I guess you could say it
So why do you
habitual to, it's like,
you keep referring to her as your wife, and I think that that's another way of your trying to control her. Listen, Mr. Schuster, listen to me very carefully. You're 33. I don't even remember being 33. It was so long ago. My point is that I know that young people do stupid stuff because they're learning how to control themselves over time. You're 33. Hopefully you have a lot more living ahead of you, but you're not a baby. And the decisions that you made to terrorize Ms. Schumann were purposeful. Perhaps the intended result wasn't only to terrorize her, just using terror as a means to an end, because you wanted to control her. The COPS evaluation that I gave you is fair. I think it's too fair, frankly. I believe what your father said, which is that you need mental health treatment and that Ms. Schumann will contact you when she needs something. I believe that. But Ms. Schumann is not under a court order. It's messed up that she would do that. She's not under a court order. She's never been under a court order. You are. In the family division and here. And if you think for one moment, Mr. Schusterick, that I don't know, not believe, but know that you made that call on October 6th, I think you mistake me for a fool. I wouldn't even consider that. Of course you called her on October 6th. If I could trust that you would have batterers counseling, because there's plenty of batterers counseling outside of jail, I would give it to you. Because I really don't think that what you need couldn't be accomplished outside of jail, except for the fact that I can't count on you not contacting Ms. Schumann. And why? Because repeatedly, over and over and over again, despite my order, despite the personal protection order that's the basis for this aggravated stalking case, you keep contacting. You're not as smart as she thinks you are, or as smart as you think you are. It's going to be the sentence of the court to adopt the COBS evaluation that I gave to you, Mr. Schusterick, which is for you to have 5 years probation to run in the case of 242642, concurrently with 242637. The first 6 months in the Wayne County Jail, just to be where you'll complete the domestic treatment. DTV. I forget what the abbreviation is for, but it's for domestic violence.
Transition.
Domestic transition. What is it?
I thought it was a domestic violence training
So
or
Domestic.
transitions
Transition
I
program.
think, you know,
program.
I think that they transpose the numbers. It should be DVT instead of DTV, perhaps. But you'll complete that program. And I indicated whichever comes later, first 6 months or the first 6 months in the Wayne County Jail and the DVT program. But I indicated whichever comes later. If you finish it before 6 months, Mr. Schusterick, I'm willing to allow you to be released. I don't know how long the program is. I hope you won't make a fool of me. But the main objective is for you to get this treatment. I'm hoping that once you get the treatment, that you'll be able to credibly stand before me and say that you've learned something. Because I don't think that you've learned much at all. Because you keep violating the court's order not to contact Ms. Schumann. You are to have no contact with Miss Anastasia Schumann. I'll bet you could give me this spiel right now because I've said it so many times to you, but I'm going to say it again. Not directly, not indirectly through your mother. Ma'am, you're not helping him. You are not helping your son by transmitting messages, etc., between him and Anastasia Schumann when you know that he's not to have any contact with her. You're not helping him. I'm sure you love him and you think you're helping him, but you're hurting him and you're enabling him, and you should stop. Can't order you to stop, but if you don't, and she, Ms. Schumann, is contacted by him again through you, he's going to be punished for it. You should know that. No contact with Anastasia Schumann, Mr. Schuster. Not through a message in a bottle, no smoke signals, no social media, no mother transmissions, no father, other third-party transmissions, no contact with her whatsoever. Now, you heard me tell her that you have not had your parental rights terminated. You have every right to parent those children through lawful means, which means that you need to contact the judge who's handling your family law case so that you can get the parenting time and other rights that you're entitled to with respect to your children. You are absolutely entitled to be a father to your children without Ms. Schumann's involvement. I'm sure that the judge in that case will arrange for parenting time to be facilitated by a third party. I'm going to adopt all of the recommendations by the Department of Corrections as listed on page 2. Most specifically, number 1, for psychological evaluation. Number 2, for mental health, domestic violence, battery intervention, or other recommended treatment. That's already covered by the DTV program. Number 3, you'll waive confidentiality for any treatment program to allow them to disclose information pertaining to your compliance and progress with your field agent. I've already discussed number 4, which is that you're to have no contact with Anastasia Schumann. And I'm going to add the recommendation that you not be within 500 feet of her residence, school, or place of employment. And I'm telling you, Mr. Schumann, if you stop at a stop sign in the middle of another state and you look to your left and you see that the car next to you is being driven by Ms. Schumann, you need to get away from it. I really do wish you well, Mr. Schuster. We're off the record.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And I wish you well as well,
Yeah.
Ms. Schumann.
Get those.
Is that your father there with you?
What's the date of fish?
Welcome, sir. Thank you for coming.
Fishes. What's the date of fish?
Want you ringing your property with your wallet, or do you want your,
Getting all this stuff going on.
you know, your mom?
I need this in my property.
Property, so. And take that one in, you can take a couple sheets of paper if you want it.
Look, why don't you give all that to your mother?
I'm
And your
taking my
phone.
phone.
Why are you taking your phone? You're not gonna be able to use it.
500 years from now when I leave, I
The
can
battery will
call.
be dead when you get out, but if you want to take your phone, you can.
All right.
Right, now, the ring, you want that to go to your mom or your property?
Thanks for buying me out.
All right, switch it.
Thank you. Please don't text her.
I just want to see kids do.
Ma'am, maybe you can talk to Ms. Schumann's father.
I don't want to put this.
Okay. Just
I'm
a
sorry,
second.
thank you. My family reached out because they want to see the kids, their birthdays and stuff, so, and when I know what you're saying is right. But there's so much, she lied on there when she said that she never saw him.
Well,
I got proof of pictures and phones and text messages and about her personal stuff. I went to there to get my son's stuff when he went to jail. I notified her, I told her she could come pick it up at my house.
no, I don't doubt any of that.
She said,
The problem is that,
he does need mental health.
well, the problem is that he's the one who has a case. And
I know, I didn't know he called from here.
well, trust me, I didn't do it a
That's
lot.
just stupid when you know you're in jail
Well,
and it's recorded.
people,
I know.
people lose their minds when they're in jail.
I'm just.
But I'm hopeful for your son. He is a smart young man. If he does what he needs to do, he'll be fine. And he'll be able to put this behind him. I don't think that he and Ms. Schumann are going to reconcile as a couple, but I believe that he wants to be a father to his children. And he can do that.
Thank you for everything you've done.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Take care of yourself.
Well, we'll see, you know.
He's going to be out sooner than 6 months because I changed the order to allow him to be released upon completion of the program rather than upon 6 months or completion, whichever comes later. It's going to be whichever
I
comes sooner.
appreciate that.
You know, we want one of the goals is to rehabilitate people, ma'am. You know, we want to rehabilitate them if we can. I wish your family well. Take care of
I
yourself.
don't even know where his car is.
What, did he drive down?
He drove us, but I didn't remember.